Good evening and welcome to ITV News. This is Friday night's calendar.
Hello, thank you for joining us, and here are tonight's main stories.
A fire in Grimsby forces the power to be turned off to 2,000 customers on one of the coldest nights of the winter.
And then I had to leave my property and go over the road to my mother's to stay over there overnight because my house is full of smoke because they're thinking it's toxic.
Like a rhinestone cowboy.
It's revealed Hull football legend Dean Windass has been diagnosed with dementia.
Dry January, why the positive benefits can last well into the year.
And a community rallies round to restore a scout hut ransacked by vandals. First to the fire, which left hundreds of people in northeast Lincolnshire without power or heating on one of the coldest nights of the year.
Yes, a blaze broke out next to an electricity substation in Grimsby, and it means the supply went off, well, for several hours last night for safety reasons.
Some people were asked to leave their homes as temperatures fell well below zero. Power has now been restored, but from the scene, Matt Price sent this.
Under a freezing night sky, firefighters tackle flames and battle with plumes of black smoke. A blaze in a building next to this electricity substation, which left hundreds without power. Only in daylight can they assess the damage, with teams who fought the fire admitting things could have been a lot worse.
Our concerns were mainly obviously the substation next door. We were lucky because we had a dividing wall. We were struggling with the water, so we had to pour quite a lot of water on it to get through to the actual seat of the fire.
Hundreds of homes were without power and without heating on one of the coldest nights of the year. Many people, like Zoe, were told to leave their property.
I got told to abandon my house because the substation was on fire, and then I had to leave my property and go over the road to my mother's to stay over there overnight because my house is full of smoke because they're thinking it's toxic.
We're told almost 2,000 customers were impacted by a power cut. Northern Power Grid isolated the substation for safety reasons before supplies were turned back on just before 11:15 last night. Residents say the fire and the power cut couldn't have come at a worse time. There's still ice on the roads and on the pavements here as the big winter freeze continues. Temperatures fell well below zero here in Grimsby last night.
Really cold, yeah, because I had 4 blankets on. My grandson stayed here as well. He had 4 blankets on. My kids are all wrapped up in their blankets upstairs.
Must have been freezing cold.
Oh, it was definitely freezing cold in here. We had no food. We didn't even have candles, and it was that bad.
In a statement, Northern Power Grid said we proactively contacted affected customers to keep them updated during the fault. We would like to thank customers for their patience while we work to safely resolve this matter. The road was closed here for much of the day as investigation work began to find the cause of the fire next to this substation in sub-zero temperatures. Well, we have had an update from police in the last couple of hours as part of the investigation. They say that they discovered a suspected cannabis grow at a nearby property. They tell us a 32-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of being concerned in the cultivation of cannabis and obstructing electricity without authority. And we're told that he remains in police custody this evening. The police cordon remains in place this evening, as well as that investigation into exactly what happened here continues. For the residents, they are hoping for a warmer evening under their roofs. The heating, the power is back on. Temperatures here in Grimsby are still struggling to rise.
Matt Price there in Grimsby. Well, one of the people affected by that power cut overnight has been helped by a Meals on Wheels charity.
Volunteers from the Neutro organisation in northeast Lincolnshire have been stepping up their work to ensure the most vulnerable don't go cold or hungry.
Well, they say their daily visits to older people are a lifeline as temperatures drop. Sarah Clark has been to see them in action.
Morning. morning.
The first visit of the day for Meals on Wheels driver Andrea Balderson is to see Robert start.
I've brought you breaded fish with mashed potato and a ginger sponge today.
The 68-year-old has had 2 strokes and a heart attack, and the power cut last night left him in the dark, which resulted in a fall. Andrea is the first person he's seen since.
It frightened me. Only that time. I've never been frightened. I was last night. It is nice to have somebody to talk to because I don't get many people coming round.
Robert lives alone and has a hot meal delivered every day.
I enjoy every day I get my meals. Every time it's nice feeling.
It's not just the meal he's relying on, it's a welfare check to check that he's okay. He doesn't have any carers coming around this time, and it also gives him that bit of company.
With temperatures falling into the minuses as the winter weather continues, it just adds to the pressure to ensure those that desperately need to be fed are.
It's very important because they wouldn't get a hot meal that day if we wasn't to go. Some of them are unable to get themselves any type of meal, so they wouldn't eat.
The social care charity Nutrio cooks around 1,000 meals a week and delivers them to the most vulnerable in North East Lincolnshire.
I roughly on my round do about 60 miles a day. The furthest I can go is Caister. Obviously it's vital the elderly and vulnerable adults get these meals, especially in this weather, how cold it is. They have some families that live away so they can't get to them like we can. Obviously when the weather's really, really bad, we get 4x4s out. Further out into the countryside, the snow can be really bad with the roads not getting used as much. And they'll drive us out to our customers and to make sure they do get these meals.
Staff say they'll make sure no one will go hungry and will continue to do all they can to help. But for some of their clients, this cold snap could provide an unwelcome taste of the grim realities to come. Sarah Clark, ITV News, Cleethorpes.
Some great work being done there. Well, of course, Kerry will be with us later to let us know if the end of this cold spell is in sight.
Well, meanwhile, the Environment Agency says it's launching an investigation into flooding across Grantham this week, despite defences being in place in the area. Residents along Belton Lane and Wyndham Park say they've never seen anything like this week's flooding after the River Witham burst its banks on Monday. Across the county, around 200 homes have been flooded.
And following this week's temperatures, energy services firm Centrica says winter gas supplies stored off the East Yorkshire coast are concerningly low. The company says increased demand is part of the reason why supplies are 26% lower than they were at this point last year. This means the UK has less than a week of gas demand in store.
Well, still to come. Have you gone alcohol-free this month? Find out what the lasting effects can be.
And the big freeze continues into the weekend. There is a change on the way, but we are going to have to be patient. All the detail a little later on.
Well, next, the former Premier League and Hull City star Dean Windass has been diagnosed with dementia at the age of 55.
Well, his diagnosis is stage 2 dementia, which for many of those with the condition can mean forgetting names, dates, or things like everyday phrases, or even difficulty finding the right word.
Well, there's been an outpouring of love for the Hull favourite since the news came out of it, and it's bound to raise further questions about any possible links between football and dementia. Well, Arif Armist is with us in the studio. Arif, did this come as a surprise?
Oh, huge surprise, Victoria. I've actually seen Dean a couple of times out on the road on a couple of jobs over the last few weeks, and there was no indication that anything was wrong. Obviously, he felt something wasn't quite right, and he's had some tests on, and as you've just revealed, that you've got stage 2 dementia. Now, the news was actually broken this morning with Dean's permission by former footballer David May. Now, he was talking about dementia and the need for more support with people living with the condition on BBC Breakfast.
I only spoke to Dean Windass yesterday, and
for our audience, Dean Windass is...
Dean Windass, ex-professional footballer. I spoke to Dino, I asked him how he is. He's been diagnosed with stage 2 dementia, and he's the same age as me, and he's worried sick.
Well, Arif, for those who don't follow particularly closely.
Yes.
Just how big a name is Dino? Because everybody knows him as Dino, don't they?
Yeah, well, quite simply, John, huge. In the city of Hull, where he's born and bred, he's a hero. And he's played over 200 times for his hometown club of Hull City, scoring just under 100 goals. Most memorable goal will be that one we've just seen there, the volley in the 2008 playoff final that got Hull promoted to the Premier League. Now, there's been no word from Dean today, but he has posted on his social media account X, where he's posted a video of him singing Rhinestone Cowboy by Glenn Campbell, which we can hear a clip of now.
But I'm gonna be where the lights are shining on me, like a rhinestone cowboy.
Well, the significance of that song is that the artist Glenn had a long battle with dementia himself, and Dean captioned that saying, well, now he's just got to keep on smiling.
Thanks, Arif. I'm sure you'll keep us up to date with that one.
And of course, we send Dean our best wishes. OK, you're watching Calendar, and the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Charlene White.
At least 10 people are dead in California as wildfires rage on, leaving a trail of devastation as thousands of homes are destroyed. With many still missing, authorities say the death toll is likely to rise. Music to the ears of fans as the government announces plans to tackle ticket touts and dynamic pricing. And they certainly look like they're enjoying themselves. But can fifth-tier Tamworth keep their remarkable FA Cup run going against Tottenham on Sunday? Join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Thank you, Charlene. Well, on to some more news from around the region now. And a man who died in a crash in South Cave this week has been named by police. 59-year-old John Cartmel died at the scene. The vehicle he was driving crashed on the A1034 near South Cave on Wednesday afternoon. He's been described as a loving and devoted family man. Police are appealing for information and dashcam footage.
The leader of Hull City Council is calling on the government to intervene over delays to the completion of works on the A63 in Hull. National Highways announced before Christmas that the works wouldn't be complete until spring 2026, a year later than they'd initially planned. Well, in a letter to the Transport Secretary, Councillor Mike Ross says the delay has caused very substantial concern to residents and businesses.
Are you doing dry January, John?
I'm doing not as wet January.
Well, by now it's reckoned that more than 15 million Britons are a third of the way through it.
This sounds like some kind of confessional, doesn't it? Well, look, many of us overindulge, don't we, over Christmas and New Year. But just how likely are people who don't drink this month, January, to cut back on their drinking habits all year round? Catherine Senach has more.
What comes to mind when you think of January? For many, it's New Year's resolutions, a focus on fitness and cutting back on alcohol, all of which tend to mean less time out socialising in bars and pubs. But this cocktail club has redesigned its menus to include more no and low alcohol drink options.
People require more choice. We've certainly seen a difference in behaviour from Gen Z, who are still looking to go out, want to be a part of what hospitality has to offer, want to be out with their friends, want to be able to enjoy being entertained and that vibe, but not always wanting to drink throughout the entire night.
1 in 4 of us are looking to ban the booze this month. The NHS recommends that people drink no more than 14 units of alcohol per week. That's equivalent to roughly 6 medium glasses of wine or 6 pints of beer. But 35% of men and 22% of women say they are drinking more than the recommended guidelines. But what do people in Barnsley think of dry January?
Certain people, if they're moderate drinkers or they wanted to cut down on the drink, yeah, it's a good idea to try and have a good clear month where they're not drinking, and it may put them into that aspect of not wanting to drink as much as well then.
It wouldn't hurt anybody to not drink for 4 weeks, just to give the body to recover from it. And all that money they've wasted, and they'd realise how much money they've got and spend it on nice coffee and toasties.
I think it's a good thing, really. Anything after a bit of a busy period at Christmas, anything that's good for your health can only be a positive. See, I don't really drink much anyway, so it's not something that I'll be doing. I don't think I really need to cut any more out.
So, what does Dry January actually achieve? Well, according to Alcohol Change UK, 70% of people who do it are still drinking less 6 months down the line. The charity is urging people to download the Try Dry app to help them build a better relationship with drinking.
It allows people to have a better experience, double their chances of staying dry, but most importantly, allows people to reset for the year ahead and make a really good long-term change. It helps you stay accountable, inspires you, motivates you, gives you badges and allows you to track your savings. So really increases the Dry January experience.
So whether it's just for January or a small step to a healthier future, experts are urging people to join the millions who are swapping cocktails for mocktails this month. Catherine Tenai, ITV News.
Well, we're almost halfway through January now, but it's never too late to start, is it?
Good words.
Kerry, are you taking part in Dry January?
I am not, no, but I'm always sensible with my drinking, whether it's alcoholic or not.
Very
sure.
wise.
Definitely some dry weather over the last few days, thankfully, certainly for the start of this week where we had the flooding. But oh my goodness, it's been cold, hasn't it? These are our Met Office overnight lows, -6 Celsius over the last couple of nights, but over the tops of the hills, certainly where we've got the snow cover, it has been much lower than that. It was -6 Celsius this morning at Ola Bar. That's on basically the border of Sheffield and Derbyshire. Absolutely beautiful if you dare get out there in the elements, because it has been very slippery indeed, but plenty of blue sky and sunshine during the course of the last couple of days. This is Holy Moorside in Derbyshire. A big thank you to Paul for the shot. Now check out this video. This is Wendy Scott in Sandygate in Sheffield. She popped her cover on the windscreen at the beginning of the week, and then of course it snowed, and then it thawed a little bit, and then it froze, and she hasn't been able to get out. It has been really limiting for people to get out over the last couple of days or so. I know the main roads have been fine, but if you're rural, it's been really tricky.
And don't pour boiling water on your windscreen.
Oh my goodness, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Absolutely not, no. Now there is a slow or a gradual thaw, so steady thaw, so people who want to get out, but it is on the slow side, certainly as we head through this weekend. This is Monday's snapshot at midday, and it's still a northwest-southeast split, so where we've got the snow, the milder air is trying to get in, but it will take longer. And then, of course, at lower levels for parts of Lincolnshire especially, but where we've got the standing water, it will stay colder for longer. So still some frosty conditions into the beginning of next week. But yes, there is an end in sight if you're fed up of it, for sure.
Those are the words I exactly wanted to hear. Thank you, Kerry.
Full forecast coming up.
Now, just a word on sport, and Sheffield United's run in the FA Cup came to an end last night. A much changed and youthful United side were beaten 1-0 by Cardiff in the third round. Cian Ashford got the only goal of the game at Bramall Lane in front of just 6,000 fans.
Now, who doesn't love a bit of nostalgia? And now a new exhibition opening in Grimsby this weekend is taking people on a trip down memory lane.
Yes, a series of posters and maps are going on display at the town's Fishing Heritage Centre, showing the rail journeys of yesteryear across Lincolnshire. We send Emma Haywood along for a preview.
Well, John and Victoria, this really is a throwback to a bygone era, an era long gone when you could crisscross the county by train, linking villages, towns and the city. Let's speak to Louise Bowen from the centre here. Louise, it's a magnificent exhibition. Tell us more about it.
Yes, it's been an absolute joy putting this exhibition together. We've worked with a number of collectors of railway memorabilia to create the display of posters, and the posters themselves are absolutely stunning. The Skegness Jolly Fisherman is one that many people will remember, but there are posters from all across the Lincolnshire area on display, and they are fantastic not just because of the artistic value, but also what they can tell us about the railway history in our area.
And this one's so iconic, isn't it?
Absolutely. Many people will remember that. We've actually got lots of different versions of this poster on display, but he is iconic, and we're just delighted to have them on display here.
Thanks for talking to us. Well, let's just have a quick look at this one. This one is from the 1960s. It was only costing 37p in modern money on Easter Sunday to get between Lincoln and Skegness. I think it would cost a little bit more than that now. Let's speak to Richard Furness. Richard, you are a rail historian and a collector. Each poster tells a story, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're looking here at the history of Lincolnshire from the 30s right through to the 70s. So these are of immense intrinsic and cultural value because it shows, for example, what the cities look like and the towns and villages of the second largest county in Britain. So if you look at, for example, at this poster, this dates from the mid-30s. This is the glory hole, and you can see what the glory hole looked like in the 30s. And then you come to this one, which is the same view in the 60s, and the one behind me is actually that area there. So you can see the difference between Lincoln in the 60s and Lincoln in the 30s. And the bottom line is, it hasn't changed.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. Well, this exhibition is on until the beginning of May.
Emma, real collector's items, are they? Well, now finally to a story that helps restore your faith in humanity.
Yes, when thieves targeted a scout hut in Doncaster, the group's leaders feared they'd never be in a position to reopen again.
Well, they didn't bargain on the kindness of the local community and businesses who've worked to ensure that in a matter of weeks, the scouts will be back in a hut that's better than ever before, as Katie Oscroft reports.
It was devastation.
The transformation in this scout hut, which was trashed by vandals 6 months ago, is dramatic.
It happened because of the local community. The local community gathered together in a way that I would have never thought.
The damage left Matt Nichols wondering whether he would ever lead a group of scouts in this building again.
It was devastating. It felt like that was the end of a journey of 10 years of effort, of building up a project, and it felt at that moment that it was going to be no more.
We've replaced the ceilings in the bathroom, toilet and shower room.
The community rallied round, raising money, and the company Efficiency North rounded up qualified people who set to work for free.
It's very satisfying because it's a local community. We work within this community and we have done for 20, 25 years now. And, you know, just putting a little bit of profit back into a job like this is not a problem for us. More than happy to do it. They're in a better state. It's just a shame it's not done overnight because obviously the kids have missed out for the last 6 months. While we've put it back, still a little bit of work to do, but we're nearly there.
So this is the brand new kitchen.
Lisa Jackson grew up in the scouting movement. She was a chief scout as a youngster. Her own children enjoy taking part and can't wait to be back.
We've had so much support and we are so appreciative. The kitchen we did have originally was one that was going to be fitted before we got broken into, and they actually stole the new kitchen as well. So to be donated this, it's just amazing. It were heartbreaking to find this venue in the state that it wasn't very nice. The kids come here to gather together, to learn, have fun, and that has been taken away for the past 6 months. It's going to be absolutely fantastic when we return. The kids are going to be so overwhelmed, back to going on camping trips, everybody socialising together.
And with the mess and damage caused by vandals becoming a distant memory, Scouts will be back together again soon.
We're just a few weeks away from making the finishing touches, having it painted out. What I need to say is thank you.
The 19th Asken Scouts wanted to say it too. So with this building almost ready for action, Scout leaders say what happened here shocked everyone, but what happened next brought out the best in this community. Katie Oscroft, ITV News, Doncaster.
Oh, John, it's so nice to end the week on a high, isn't it?
Good luck to the Scouts. I hope they're warm enough, by the way. Ending on a high, I think we're maybe ending on a low temperature. Kerry has your full forecast.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. Yes, we stay bitterly cold as we head into the weekend. Plenty of blue sky yet again today, but icy, flooded waters at Hexthorpe Flats. A big thank you to Karen Collett for the shot. You can just see that park bench there. No one's sitting on that today for sure. And not for the next couple of days as we stay bitterly cold with the continued risk of frost, ice and maybe some freezing fog patches into the early parts of tomorrow. A little bit more cloud and a breeze on Sunday, but it's a steady thaw as we head into the early part of next week. We've got high pressure keeping things cold, but keeping weather systems at bay to the west as we head into Saturday and most of Sunday. It's not really until we head into next week that we start to see the winds freshening and eventually that warmer air starting to get to lower levels as we head into Monday and Tuesday. So certainly overnight tonight, largely dry, clear clear and bitterly cold, temperatures sub-zero. Maybe some freezing fog patches starting to develop, which will be slow to clear during the early part of tomorrow, and always the risk of ice on anything untreated. So another very cold start as we head into the weekend. 8:13 and 8 minutes past 4 are your sun times. So where we have lingering freezing fog, it will be slow to clear, but otherwise a dry day with plenty of sunshine on Saturday, light winds and again feeling bitterly cold. And that will once more Saturday night into Sunday give us a fairly widespread frost. There is a little bit of cloud pushing through, lifting the temperatures a tiny bit and a bit more of a breeze, but it's not really until we head into the early part of next week that we see that thaw, and for some places not until Tuesday.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
So this snap is coming to an end, although who's this character behind you?
Oh, well, I'd said the sunrises and sunsets would be great this week, and this little foxy just came to have a little look. Thanks for all your photos this week. We've had hundreds.
They've been really good.
Amazing, yeah.
That's it from us. Charlene's next. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, take care.